Good evening, everybody. Andy Moss here, trading-adventures.com with your quick Tuesday market update. And the roadmap really tells the whole picture. Despite the headlines back and forth, we continue to wait for a deal. The action will cause whiplash if you're keeping up with the headlines. But the price action, it's a little back and forth as well. But the fact remains, we've got higher highs and higher lows above a rising 5-day moving average on the index ETFs. SPY over here rallying a bit into the close as we got some positive news and making another slight high, just a little bit above these closing highs, not above this little tail here. But you see the 5 days are rising on all 4 of these, and the Qs, Dow, not quite making new highs yet, but the lows are getting higher there. So in the index futures, just for another look, similar situation, of course, and we can see what's going on with the dips and rallies and dips and rallies. As back and forth as they may be, they continue to head in the right direction, and that's something I've been pointing out in the weekly charts for several weeks now. If and when we find a bottom, it would start out by doing something like this, creating those higher highs and higher lows above first a rising 5-day moving average, and then let's go over to the daily time frame, and we can see that SPY on a daily, it got down below this anchor for a few days, that being off the April lows of last year, and now it's had several green days in a row there. That's not a sequence we've been able to string together for quite some time now. It's above a now rising 8-day moving average. The 21-day is still coming down, and price is right there in that area. But notably, we are still many days below the 200-day moving average, and we still have the 50-day up here at 675. RSI on the daily time frame is right here at a level where maybe that could add to factors for some resistance in here. So if we don't get follow through on positive news this evening at 8 o'clock, would not be surprised to see things come back a little bit. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go higher here. This is a two-way market, and anything can happen in this situation where we've got headlines dictating everything. Qs, similar situation. We are back above basically a flat 8-day and bumping into the declining 21-day. And I'm going to keep this brief because the price action is all very similar, and there's really not much else to look at. The DIA is above the 21-day, but still well below the 200-day, or many days below the 200-day there. So, and finally, the IWM is a little stronger relatively because it's above the 8 and the 21. We have this anchored VWAP from back in the November lows, which is an area of reference to keep an eye on there if things continue to rise. And then, like the others, we've got the 50-day coming down here. So we're not out of the woods yet. It's a positive development. It's a start to getting some price action in the right direction. Maybe this is the bottom, maybe not. Maybe we come back down and revisit the 200-day on that. Maybe the SPY comes back down to test the 8-day, or even this anchor off of the last April lows. Anything can happen. It's just we have to take it one step at a time and focus on the shorter time frames for now. And that frustrating, choppy situation dictates that we continue to go slower. Not a great environment for establishing new swing trade positions. Bitcoin still looks miserable. I'll just take this trend line off of there. It's not very meaningful anymore, but we've got just a cluster of moving averages and anchor VWAPs in here. This is no real positive development in there. The dollar is still chopping around here just below this 100 area, and somewhat interestingly, the volatility index has not really jumped or increased a whole lot as the price action continues to be squirrely. So that's an interesting, notable occurrence there. Crude oil continues to rise with the troubles in the shipping lanes. A bit of a pullback here to the month-to-date anchor there on the crude futures earlier today. And so that's about it for the quick Tuesday update. This is still a market to be patient with, to take it a bit. We do have positive developments here. It would look very good if not for at least a perceived binary event this evening at 8 p.m. with the deadlines for negotiations and ceasefires, but the market never makes it easy. So if you're taking swing positions, you're doing it in smaller initial sizes and tightening stops a little quicker along the way and being a little faster to trim things that move in your favor. Those are some of the tactics that I'm deploying, and we'll continue to see what happens. We'll be back with another update on Thursday.